Down one.
Hey, so this is a video diary about everything game design, game development, and what I'm currently playing. Today's topic is about Apex and why it's a well-designed game. So let's get right into it. So why is Apex Legends fun? Well, it's mainly because they solved a problem that a lot of battle royales had, which is looting was not fun. We gotta remember that when this game came out, it was around 2018. So PUBG and Fortnite, especially PUBG, was popping off. It had a lot of players. Most of the battle royale players were on PUBG, and during that time, we had looting. So looting was a big part of the game, or looting is a big part of battle royales. That's because you start with nothing and you need to loot to get more things to survive. Because looting is such a big part of battle royales, like it has to be fun. And one of the good design things about Apex Legends is that when you go through a loot box, or not a loot box, but a dead box, player box, you'll easily be able to figure out what items are there. And PUBG had this, but it wasn't clear. Like the UX design was very plain, very blank. You couldn't really see what was going on, and there was also a lot of garbage in everyone's loot, especially with the added like skins and like the clothing you can have. Apex Legends introduced a nice UI. It was very color coded. It was very large, to the point where also it was designed for console players. So PUBG, I feel like, was not. It was definitely PC first. So using a mouse, clicking on things, scrolling through things was much easier, but console did not have that luxury. So the designers definitely had in mind that, you have to scroll through using like a joystick or like a reticule, like a cursor. And that's what we have here. So it's easy for casuals to get looting, which was a big improvement for battle royales. But another thing that made it fun was that armor swaps were a thing. So because it's such a fast-paced sort of game, action game, shooting game, armor swapping, it became a skill in itself, which became fun, and it became sort of a high skill cap thing to do, whether it's console or PC or mouse and keyboard. So that also added to the fun of looting player death boxes. On top of that, you also have different abilities and strategies around death boxes, whether it's like the death box itself can block a door, or certain players can see what are certain items like batteries inside death boxes. So all in all, looting is actually really fun in Apex, and that's one of the strong design choices and designs in the game that makes it good. So moving on, we have contextual pinging. Again, this is one of the first games that did it right. A lot of games had pinging. I think back then, a good game that also did this right was Rainbow Six. So they had pings, and pinging was a way to communicate easily. As you see, like we're doing it all the time here, and just also like pinging also bridges the gap between console players and mouse and keyboard. So with console players, I feel like voice is not really a used thing. Like no one really plugs in their mics on console, or at least not when I play multiplayer shooters on console. I tend to like lurk or not really say anything online, whereas PC gamers usually they're on Discord, etc. Like they have their like mics plugged in But either way, even with the mics, the pinging, especially contextual pinging, where if you ping an item, it shows you, oh, that's an item. And on top of that, the designers added in color coding and also player voice lines. So the character themselves will say like, oh, here's ammo. Oh, here is a weapon. And or I need a weapon, or an enemy was there, or enemy opened a door. These are like sort of communication cues that usually you would say in a different game like Counter-Strike, for example, where it's like you don't have those characters to tell you these things. And this just made communication pleasant throughout, like, cross-platform even. So you didn't really have to talk, and people were comfortable and also playing the game smoothly without having to trip up over like voice over IP or any weird systems or crappy delays. It was just really immediate. And interesting enough, once ApexLegends proved their game was really good, and this is one of the sort of the design features that a lot of games copied. So now you don't really have a multiplayer game without pinging, without contextual pinging, because that just feels really bad and not as fun. The third is movement. Movement isn't anything new in FPSs or multiplayer competitive multiplayer games, but movement, the reason why people talk about the movement is actually because of the history of the game and how it came from Titanfall 2. And that game, which is a single player game, really emphasized movement. Like you're a Titan pilot that's able to traverse the sort of the battlefield really fluidly, and then also like pilot a cool mech. But essentially that game came out in 2016, and it was a well-rated game, well-received, and a lot of people took movement seriously and more fluidly, and they actually applied it to this game as well. So we have sliding. The thing is, Titanfall 2 had way better movement actually than this game itself. This game has like wall jumping, doesn't have wall running, but it did, I feel like, popularize sliding a lot. I think Call of Duty always like has sliding for a bit, but Fortnite and PUBG definitely did not have sliding. They are very clunky movement games, especially with Fortnite back then with the building, like the building of like structures. But this game's movement is very in depth. Like it has a lot of depth to it. And just like if you play in any other tactical shooters like Valorant or Counter-Strike, you'll know that movement is super important because it allows you to get into certain positions faster, and better positions win you games or win you matches or win you that one-on-one. So, and streamers, you'll know that top-notch movement you can easily outplay an entire team just by moving super well. And that also gives this game something to practice, something to what we say, like enter a flow state in, where you are constantly challenged but also thinking of what to do and how to move in this game. And that's what makes this game quite, I would say, unique compared to, let's say, Call of Duty or Fortnite, where movement is important, of course, as in any competitive shooter, but in this game it's very fluid, and you could really literally run circles around people with certain movement techniques, right? There's wall jumping, and then people in the community started discovering different movement techniques like mantle jumping and what do you call it, zip hopping, zip jump, like high jumping, and also tap strafing as well. So of course that's very controversial because console players, like control players, cannot do this, but it adds depth, a lot of depth to the game, which a lot of people enjoy and makes this game more enjoyable. So those are the three sort of things like that are well designed about this game. So this is one of my first videos, so I thought I would talk about the game I enjoy and what makes this game good, and blend it in with something that I enjoy talking about, which is game design. So thanks, and I'll let you enjoy the rest of the video, and I believe this is a win.
I want to get on this.
So thanks for listening.
Oh, on the wall we have to go right down.
Taking shots here. Recharging.
My caustic is stuck in there.
Reloading.
Wait, I have the caustic health inside. Dude, block. Kill this guy. 3 HP. 1 HP. Dead.
Reloading.
Doing. One's going left side here.
Enemy